we got 1700 on our clock in Geneva, and we got 1800 or 6 p.m. in Kiev, and I believe this is 4 p.m. in the UK. And Ronald, what's time in Tampa Bay?
It's in the morning, 11 o'clock.
Oh, it's 11 o'clock. So everybody's here. We got sound and we got video check, so we can start our event. Ladies and gentlemen,
okay.
I'm happy to see everybody entered, connected. Otherwise, if you've got a problem, please write to me or call me. Today we got our whole bunch of great people sharing with me our credit chats. First of all, we've got Ronald Mayer from United States, and he is representing the sales side of our discussion. And then we got very important part of business, and I'm enormously happy to represent Steve Wills from Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, and Marina Trepova, my personal friend, my partner, my colleague, with whom we did so many events, and she is one of the most professional purchasing and procurement managers in the Ukraine. Marina?
Hi.
Hello, everybody. So today's topic is quite simple. We will be speaking about relations between customers and suppliers, and how these relations could be managed. What are the importance of them? Well, what are the important sides of them? And we will go through several questions and try to find whether or not there is any rational side of that and how we can rationalize all of that. But before we start, if I just commence to speak about every of our guests today, I believe I would need another hour and a half for each of them. And to find a short version of everybody of you, ladies and gentlemen, I would need to speak with you more or less the same time. So if I can ask you to say short representation of yourselves for our audience, just so everybody would know who is talking here, how would you represent yourself in the most clear, straightforward, and precise way. Steve, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's thank you. It's my absolute pleasure to be with you and to be sharing the platform with such distinguished guests. So my name is Stephen Wills, and in the introduction you heard that I am a member of a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. I've also been a chief procurement officer in the financial services and worked in procurement for events like the Olympic Games. So I have a very experienced background when it comes to procurement. That means buying and supply chains, but also the relationship between suppliers has been something which I've been focused on for my career, and indeed learnt a lot about. So I'm looking forward. These days I run training and consultancy with my own company, Procurement Central, but also in collaboration and partnership with Marina, IPSM, and other businesses around the world. So I'm looking forward to today's event. Lots of discussion. That's what I thrive on. That's what I enjoy. Lots of questions, I hope. And as I say, pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Steve. Ronald, please.
Okay. Yes. So I'm Swiss, but I'm living now in the United States in the Tampa Bay area. So I started off as a banker. So the first 10 years of my life, I was a banker. Then I switched into the field of training business, first for banks, and in 1996, and I then decided to become independent. So I started up with my company Siegel. We trained then first stage banks, of course, and then the pharmaceuticals were coming, and then all the other areas as well, including also the procurement side, especially for JTI, as you know. So we trained with JTI for a very long time. Then we always knew that, well, relationship is really important. So that's why we also said we have to combine it also with the personality side. So that's why we are also we were implementing also these all these tools from the personalities part. And that was then also the reason why we said we have to grow. So we grew into the world. We have companies a little bit all over the world. And then we decided to bring some new tools into the market. And that was the moment I decided to come to the United States, because you know how it is. You cannot just send something over. You have to be there. And then I decided, okay, I go, because my people they all said, well, yeah, you know, my English and things. Then I said, okay, understood. So I go. So that was 4 or 5 years ago. And since then, I'm now here located in Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. I'm still with my company, but here we of course we founded then the North America part to bring the Siegel trainings into this market. And now I'm also responsible as the training director for World Trade Center Tampa Bay. So we are doing a lot of stuff in this field still with banks. Swiss Army is still our customer, and so it's going on. So relationship management for me, or to me, this is the key. It's very, very important.
And I had to say lady first. I had to say that.
Next time.
That was absolutely, you know, against the gentleman's code. But since we are nearly partners in this event, I believe we start representation with the most beautiful part of the event.
Thank you.
By definition.
I agree.
Yes, thank you. I'm really happy to be at this webinar, at this event, because all of you are my partners. And yes, I started my procurement professional career in JTI together with Andy. And 9 years ago, I continue this career and continue develop a procurement environment in Ukraine, and not only in Ukraine, in other countries. And together with Siegel, we developed procurement program, educational program for professional procurement and other employees who is interested in this topic. And thus, yes, I'm still partner of Siegel and provide some programs and trainings here in Ukraine and in other countries in different languages. And I'm also a tutor and academic leader of CIPS, Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply in Ukraine. Yeah, so I'm colleague and partner of Steve, and we are doing some interesting projects the second year with Steve, and really it is very, very interesting. And of course, we have many common topics with Andriy, because relationship and the question about credit management and trust between different parties, between suppliers, between procurement and legal, etc., etc. It is very important and interesting question, and how to measure it, we will talk about it. So I'm here like procurement, and I'm here to research and to develop this topic, because I think this is the basic of any contractual, I would say, relationship and any negotiation process. we need to manage and to evaluate our relationships with our counterparts.
Thank you, Marina. I will just say a couple of words about myself. Since purchasing and sales, you know, all these are relations, but they supposed, because these are business relations, they're supposed to end with money. You know, in any kind of, or kind of, you know, any supply, money, payment or supply, which are actually obvious part of the transaction. And this is where, to me, a credit manager or creditologist, as I'm named for the last couple of years, just to remove from my name and my representation is all these designatory letters. Creditologist is a little bit shorter. So this everything ends with money. So, and money is actually main rationale for the business. And here, let us begin our today's event with a pretty simple thing. We all got relations, and we got relations with customers, with suppliers, and we all know that relations with other people are important, whatever type of connection we have, whatever link it is. But when it comes to business, let us try to list what benefits these relations are bringing to a business, what tangible benefits normally brought to the business by just relations. What is relations? What benefits they bring to a business, to a company? And just like this. Who would be first? Maybe Marina. Oh.
Ladies first. Okay.
So I got everybody as a volunteer. So I mean, you are giving me a difficult job. Okay, Marina, this time lady first, so I will restore my bad reputation.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
It doesn't matter. I'm just your colleague, and we can share our thoughts, not according to this rule. Yeah. And saying about relations, why it is so important, and what is relation in general, I can say that, and I said it in previous my speech, that this is basic basis of any further I would say processes. And I mean that we cannot negotiate without building relationships. We cannot manage contracts without relationships with certain people. Yes, we cannot sell, we cannot buy without relationships. Of course, sometimes it can be some automatizations, but if we remember predictions regarding the further professionals, which professions will exist and which competence will be important in the future, we all remember and we all know that the competence in building relationships, competence in negotiations, in strategic thinking, in creativity will be one of the most important in future. And any machine learnings, any artificial intelligence, any robots cannot substitute this competence. So thus, for me, building relationships, it is the first. And I'm here in two roles. First of all, I am procurement, but at the same time, I'm co-owner of the company IPSM, and we are selling. Yes, I am building my relationships with my clients, with partners, etc. So I use all instruments to build fruitful and strategical relationships with all my partners. And I think that this is one of the most important competence which is not developed among procurement professionals, and it is need to be developed in nearest years, because otherwise you can lose your job, from my point of view.
Okay. Ronald, Steve.
Yeah, okay. So I try to give you an example. So when it's also from my banking days, because when you're a banker, let's say a relationship manager, and you would like to persuade your customer to give his money to you to look after it, then nothing will happen without the relation. So that is extremely important. So and it's normal. If I'm the customer and he can't sell anything than the trust. So I have to trust this guy that he's looking good after my money, and that's why. So if I don't like this guy on the other side, I'm not willing to give my money to him, and he's looking after it. So that's why a relationship manager have to build up first a relationship to the customer. And that's how it is. So then when the relationship is here, he will get the money from his customer, and he has to look after the money. And without relationship, nothing will happen. And especially these days, now we were not able to see our customers. And you know how important that is. So the upcoming time is very, very important to build up the relationship and warm them up. It's really very important. We saw that also with the old ladies when they came into the banks, and you know how it is. There is glass, and they were desperately trying to come with their hand under the glass to touch, at least by the fingertips, the relationship manager, because they want to have some feeling of that person. And at the moment, that was disappearing a lot, and it will come back, I'm sure. So relationships will be very, very important. So, and it makes money. You know, when you're a customer and you don't like somebody else, I'm now also very much in the constructional business here. And it's the same thing. If I'm the buyer and I buy, let's say, a roof from somebody, and I can choose, and there are a few people who are coming up, I will go not just with the best one that I think, but I go with the one where I think this is a good guy. So
you will go with the one who you like the most.
Absolutely. That's nothing else than a little relationship. And I can see that here as well, because we don't have lockdowns. We had one last year. Since then, everything is open, and the people are still, they need to go closer. They need to be together to build up relationships. Relationship is building up trust, is building up money.
Thank you, Ronald. I mean, to me, this is, you know, in the cynic world of business, even for me, having my cynic profession, my cynical profession of, you know, money, and where's our money man? That's the way I can represent. But to me, this is very, you know, even for me, this is, after all of the years in profession, this is still surprising. But Steve, on the procurement side.
Well, firstly, I absolutely love the responses from Marina and Ronald. So, but what I picked up with Marina was the role. She talked about the role, and Ronald talked about why, probably from a human nature, we all like a relationship. The human, literally in his example, the human touch. So what I'd like to respond by is the procurement's role, shall we say, controlling the relationship and managing the relationship. Now, the reason I say that is because companies have significant billions in some cases that I've worked in, that you guys have worked in, that I know, looking at the people on the call today, have worked in. We've got a lot of leaders on the call, and they will all be familiar with billions of dollars, of euros, of pounds spent. And if the relationship is not managed, coordinated, and controlled, what will happen? In fact, a lot of suppliers, they use an expression, don't they? Land and expand, because suppliers love to come into a company and then they exactly as Ronald said, they're very good actually at being nice people, at being your friend, coming round to shake your hand every morning, get you a coffee, and being your friend. And from that, they obviously find out, what's coming up next, what plans the company has, what future projects there are. And if procurement, if my role does not control the relationship with the supplier, specifications, what they call our creep, specifications start to expand, budgets become out of control. We don't have the money to spend on the ideas that the suppliers might have for our company, and so on. So there's definitely a role, and that's procurement's role. The procurement don't have to do it all, but they do have to, shall we say, set the best practice for controlling the spend with suppliers. Now, not all suppliers will be in the same, we don't have to treat them all the same. And maybe we'll come on to this a little bit later. But certainly, because we've only got so many hours in the week, in the month, to invest our time in what they call strategic relationship. So I suppose I would just close my comments and just say, there's a segmentation required to determine that relationships will be different. It all depends on the type of service and the type of products you are buying.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I just give my personal example. I had a quite big project with a customer, and we had enough to do in terms of organization, payments, bank guarantees, and everything. And with the procurement manager of our partner, that was distribution partner and distribution and manufacturing partner. And we were working, we were speaking hours every day all over the phone. And then everything went smoothly. We didn't speak, we didn't have issues to discuss. Then one day I just received a call from him. And he just gave me a call and said, do we have any issue? No, he just said, I just didn't speak with you for quite a long time. I just want to speak. This is good emotional side. We did good job together, and I do appreciate that. And I understand that, and this is my personal theory. That's which I share in my courses of credit management. That credit, el credere, means trust, and nothing happens without trust. And I understand that in terms of building of relationship, there is a rational side and there is an emotional side. And very often, one could not exist without another one. To me, this is clear. Even in a very difficult situation, I will share with them later. But let me draw two pictures for you. First one, when we are purchasing, we all, we all are working on both sides, on sales, because we have to sell, doing business, or selling ourselves to the audience, and we purchase. And no one can tell that any of these two parts is easier. Selling is easier than procurement or vice versa. But the thing is, we got relations, let's say, with the supplier, and lots of materials on social media says that competition is very important. We always got best proposal if we organize tender, and we always push to have better proposal. I could not explain that in English, but if we push on our suppliers, we always have better proposal. But to me, again, relationships are very important. But if we, as we say in Russian, if we keep our supplier always in front of the open door, so we can, any single moment we can say, we will change you for somebody who is better. How we can manage these relations? Or this is not for everybody, this is just for somebody non-principal, and principal relations are made differently. Because to me, I give you an example. You know, in the supply chain, BMW produces cars, and they keep 20 minutes stock on the, on the assembling, in their production, like 20 minutes of spare parts stock, and if you keep your supplier, next to the open door, how this could be achievable? So where's let's rationalize that. Let's segment this everything and try to see how can we segment this everything and where we can put the rational part of that. Please feel free to say. And by the way, dear guests, please ask questions. We need your questions. We love your questions. Please ask them. I will manage to incorporate them. And in the end, we will have Q&A session, obviously. And Ronald, Steve, Marina, please ask questions. Feel free asking them, because we would like to have a discussion, not like panel. So, Steve, I believe we start with you. You are so active.
So I like your story, and I'm going to try to relate my answer to your VW story and your revolving door or the open door.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's use that as the theme. So my response to that is not everything, VW, not everything will be the same. So I hear what you say about the time period, and it's true for, let's say, all automotive, Jaguar, Land Rover, VW, yes, Ford, all the world over, and indeed pharmaceuticals. And I know that the audience today, the delegates, will already know lean supply, by heart, and just in time, But the reality is that I would start by just identifying the 4 different segmentations. And we can say that the 4 different segmentations, shall we say, are different distances from the door, the open door that you referred to. So firstly, I would say that if it's a very, we say highly complex, it may not be so much money, but it's a very highly complex, sometimes people call it the bottleneck item. I mean, I work a lot with oil and gas companies, drilling, and there's always components, there's always items that only one company makes, and that sometimes we refer to this as bottleneck. So clearly in that situation, they're not so close to the open door. Clearly, if there's only one company making that item or producing that item, you need to be very careful and maybe hold more stock, more inventory than the other items in your portfolio. The second one is the, shall we call them, non-critical items. They are consumables. They are items that let's say that, and this is a point for suppliers, that the supplier has not been able to convince the buyer that they are strategic, that they have a huge value, that they're highly complex, or that they have a high significant value to your business. These items you can source from many different companies. There's always an alternative competitor you can go to. So to your point, you could say, you could be quite close to that open door, because you can just go, you know, if things don't work out, you can go to somebody else very easily. The third segmentation is what I would call big volumes of leverage. Big volumes of leverage. If you work in with companies, again, oil and gas pipeline, you know, it costs a lot of money and there's a lot of it, but it's not particularly highly complex. So that big leverage, you know, it has a different type of relationship. You're getting a bit closer because of the volumes and the spend to collaboration and partnership. And then lastly, of course, you've got highly complex, highly significant, lots of money and a real stake in your business. And we can call those partnership relationship. Now, I would say you need to be very, the word I use is tensioned. You need a tensioned relationship, but it's not a threatening one all the time, but they need to know, you know, that they're under pressure to perform. But my point in summary is you need to segment what is important to you, what is not important to you, and then adopt, shall we call them, different types of relationships for the different spend categories that you have.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really, you know, very insightful. So like there is no one size fits everybody.
No.
In procurement first of all. And let's try to touch sales side. Ronald, what if we sell? What if we sell, and how can we manage on that side?
Well, I would say the thing is in sale that it's not just depending on you. So you as a relationship manager, you really have to build up this relationship. But to keep it up, it is also important, because this is also all about communication. Because if you have a relation and you know how it is, this customer that just wants to talk to you, that's normal. And it's the responsibility of the relationship manager also to do that from time to time, because it's all about communication. If I talk to the customer when he's here, then I'm talking and I'm in the discussion. But when he's going out, I'm not talking anymore. So if we do then some actions, we are delivering whatever, then from time to time we have to come back to him and look if is still everything okay. And that's again, this is then very much depending on the personality of my customer. That's already in the communication with him. The personality part is very, very important. That's why we're always talking about these different kind of personalities, you know.
We know that very well.
Exactly. So, and this is the responsibility of the relationship manager. So he has to treat the customer in his personality and ongoing. So there are people, they don't need to be in touch every week, every month, but others they are. And this is this is really the responsibility of the relationship manager to do that.
Especially,
to realize.
Sorry to cut across, especially the blue. No, just to agree with you that the blue requires that level of detail, that analytical, whereas red, you know, the US used to have a president that was very, very red, and of course, you know, he didn't do his homework, he didn't get the detail. Because he was he was probably a different shade to red than we've ever seen in our life. But absolutely, I completely agree with you, to know the color of the person. And if you can match that with the sales and the buyer, then you've done well. But certainly by understanding the other person, you can then, as you say, not give them enough or give them more detail. So very good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. And Marina, something on your side?
Something from my side. I think that Steve represent different approaches, quadrants of Kralitch matrix very well. And I, yes, use this instrument to explain how to build different relationships with different suppliers, and explain that you cannot, all procurement, that you cannot behave in the same way with different suppliers with whom with suppliers who sell you, for example, printing paper, and at the same time equipment line for producing bottles or cheese or cakes, for example. It doesn't matter. So you need to invest a lot in strategic and key suppliers and build with them long-term relationships. And of course, I want to support your last discussion about types of personality, because I think that procurement, first of all, and sales as well, they should be good psychologists. So this is competence which is very, very important, and we need to be trained all our professional way. So as salespersons and procurement guys, procurement folks, you need to understand very good who is the person with whom we will negotiate or contact, and how to manage these relationships in the best way. Because yes, we sign contracts with the companies, but at the same time, we do everything and build our relationships with human beings, with people with whom we communicate firstly, and then of course it is everything put on the paper and managed according to the contract. And yes, you need to know this personality. It is the first, and the second, you need to know how adapt your behavior according to the other personality type. So if you understand your personality and personality of other people's, you can be more flexible, more agile, I would say, yes. And it helps you to build very fruitful relationships, and it will help you a lot of business success and profit. It doesn't matter if you are buyer or you are a salesperson, it doesn't matter. So this is my conclusion of your previous speeches, and I am fan of both instruments, and I use these instruments in my professional life. Yes, it is not just theory, it is practice.
Well, being a financier, I prepared something serious about that part. But since we went to the side where personal relationship, I mean, obviously, contract is signed between two companies, then there are authorities on one side, on another side, who are authorized to sign contract, then maintain it and take decisions, that everything. But in the end of the day, this cooperation, and even in very difficult situation, this cooperation between people is required, even between Ronald knows that quite well. Being banker, I started my career in bank collecting non-performing loans. So even in that situation, relationship and personal contact is extremely important. And I used to teach my credit team that even if you have to collect, you're supposed to maintain rapport, you're supposed to maintain, even over the phone, in international call, you're still supposed to work, and you still have to make this just, to a certain extent personal. And I used to train my credit team, and I had very brilliant subordinate, his name Adriano, and he was working with a Spanish customer. He was fluent in Spanish, which helped him a lot. But I said, when you speak with our counterpart, please make this relation a bit personal, a bit closer, trying to help, and you will see the reaction of other people coming to that. And one day we had just for one day that was an outstanding late payment. And he gave the customer a call. And then he's coming back. I didn't understand what he was speaking in Spanish, but he came back and said, you know, I'm calling them after he spent several, you know, quite a long time speaking with them over the phone. We didn't have chance to travel there. And then he's coming to say, they're gonna pay today. Oh, so they're gonna pay tonight. We will see money tomorrow. But what is the most interesting thing? On the backside of my call, I heard one thing. He was speaking with a lady who called Estefania, and then Estefania just said, Adriano, wait a minute. And he said, Maria, you know, we didn't pay money to Adriano. Please correct that. So there is no company, there is no contract, there is nothing. We've forgotten to pay money to Adriano. That what was important, the only thing important in that story. So that's just again, our personal relations working to very big extent. This means money. Yeah. So these relations means money, and this is
Can I just give you
whatever
the flip side to that? So again, probably helpful for people selling is, and it's very similar to what you just said, always remember that there will be probably easy relationships that you make. They're very enjoyable, as Ronald said. We like the ladies coming into the bank behind the glass screen. They like the human contact, the human touch, the relationship. They're very easy relationships to have, but there could be other decision makers. In fact, in big organizations, procurement are just one, as Marina knows, of many people who will make the decision to give business. So just because you have, as you say, just because you've invested in the relationship, which is a very nice, easy relationship to invest in, don't forget, in the same way that you explained the story, don't forget that there are other factors, other decision makers, other matters where you may be missing the opportunity to secure, from a sales point of view, to secure business. It's not just the one person you've got a good relationship. And the example I would give was a consultancy company, one of the what they call the top 4 consultancy companies. Had an excellent relationship, and then of course that guy left, and then they had me, and I was very different, and I didn't invest in friendships. I tried to treat everybody fairly from a business perspective. So suppliers can get very caught out in that situation.
Yeah, so business perspective, this is what I wanted to change this discussion, that to actually to slightly direct. There is always other side, yeah? So what we try to say, we are selling something, and you know, we cannot come with the, you know, in very simple terms, we may establish relations with the supplier, but if we don't pay on time, you know, everything gonna be wasted. Yeah. The same story on the customer side. You know, we can work together, but on the sales side, we may bring, we may smile, we may bring, we may try to do everything very nicely with all the nice words, but if we don't deliver good product, just I mean, this everything complex, and obviously relations what makes different. But the thing is, where we can draw this line of complex relationship, of all obviously, you know, all this complexity, how can we enter to that? I had more or less the same experience, like, you know, when you sign a contract with a big corporation, you do your best to do a great you do your best to deliver the best quality product and all the possible stuff like that, but then management changed and decision maker changed, and they want to do another competition between suppliers, and they simply don't like you. Just like that, this could go this way. Obviously, we're supposed to diversify our customer portfolio, our supplier portfolio, but what really makes difference in terms of this complex relationship, both in terms of sales and in terms of procurement?
May I start?
Sure.
I think that you're absolutely right to move a little bit our discussion a little bit to other side of relationships, and of course we need to invest a lot to our relationships, but during all negotiation trainings we can see, and during our business cases from real life, we can see that if we will not be open, straight, and transparent in our goals and wishes, what we want to reach in the deal or to reach with this contract, for example, or in the competition, we will lose the client, we will lose this contract, and we will not be success in this competition, for example. Yes, and all these conditions and terms should be delivered to your customer if you're a salesperson, or versus to the buyer, to the salesperson. And in this situation, everybody in this negotiation process or bargaining process will be aware what our counterpart wants in this deal, and you will go forward quickly. It is one part. Yes, the second part is work very accurate and detailed with your contract. So you need to prepare your contract in the way when anybody after this contact person leave the company, anybody can work with this contract, and it will reflect the pure terms which you deal and pure terms which you're working with in this contract. And in this way, even if substitute or other contact person will take the place of the previous contact person, you can negotiate with them in clear way what is the specific of your relationships and how you work, and propose them, for example, previous evaluation forms or previous audit forms, etc., etc. So as better you prepare plan and scenarios for your negotiations, as better you negotiate them, and as better you can fix it in the contract and help to transfer this process from one contact person to another one. This is my experience from procurement practice.
So your in short, your advice to the audience is you just need to be the best,
Yes.
You just need to be the best,
It's very
unquestionable
short.
best in very short term,
Yeah, very short resume of my speech.
Yeah, surprisingly, I put my question, and I've read from Gorgana and Nadenova exactly the question I've asked. That was my intuition. Thank you very much. Gorgana, thank you for your question. Again, we are talking about big corporates and how we transfer. We got corporates of 10s of thousands of people, and we got contracts and everything. And yes, obviously that if somebody wants a magic pill, this magic pillow, this supposed magic pillow, miracle drug. It's just to be the best at questionable best. But gentlemen, what are your advices in that respect? You know, decision makers are changing. Big company, how we make a difference in that either side, procurement, supply, whatever.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, I think the big difference is also in our responsibility as a relationship manager to understand what is the decision-making process of my customer, because when it comes to the negotiation, we always have to think about, there is not just the decision maker, because sometimes you are maybe lucky that you meet him, and that you get the information directly from him. But very often, he is not the one who is aware of the real problem of his company. So that means there are also influencers. There are people that influence him in his decisions. And we, as a relationship manager, we have to be aware of that. So we have, in a negotiation, we have to discuss with many people. So we have to find out what is the process of this decision-making process, who is the one who is making the decisions, is he influenced by whom? And we need to get also some information. So to have a clear picture of the process and then to respect that. So the thing is, we always know that we have the best product, we have the best solution, but it has to fit. So that's exactly the point.
The best. We believe it is the best.
Absolutely.
But it is
absolutely.
not.
Otherwise,
it is
we wouldn't
not necessarily the best fit. That's the thing.
And that's the thing. So we have to fit our solution so that it works best for them. And we have to think about it might change in future. So exactly what you said. So maybe there is in over a certain period, it is changing. There might be another decision maker. There might be another influencer. And we have to be aware of these situations as well. So here as well, we have to be also aware that we have to maybe modify our solution from time to time. And this is procurement. That's why we every year you have to meet them again, because it's changing. And if your solution is not flexible enough to adapt to the changing situation, you're out. So that's why you really have to understand the whole process. And this is all about knowing getting as much information as possible to have a clear picture of the decision-making process to adapt also your solution.
So we are moving to the theory of Sir Charles Darwin. I don't know if he had knighthood, but Charles Darwin said, "Adapt or die." And,
exactly.
Steve, what would you say about that? Steve, we don't hear you.
Muted.
Yeah, you are muted.
Still.
Yeah, a classic error. Speaking when I'm muted.
So that's okay. We found solution.
I was saying that I didn't know Darwin personally. I think he died 100 years before I was born. So I can't tell you much about Charles Darwin. But what I can say about the what I've heard from my colleagues is if I start with Ronald and just build on the analysis of the, sometimes they call it the DMU, the decision-making unit or decision makers, is that exactly as Ronald said, you've got influencers, you've got gatekeepers, and sometimes, to his point, actually the final decision is made exactly as he said, in another country. And he will know this from, shall we say, Switzerland and the US. Certainly in financial services, you can have the New York office as the final decision maker, but they're not close enough to the operation in Zurich or in Switzerland or Geneva to know the business, but they are part of that decision-making unit. So it's a very, we can say, multi-layered relationship management that you need to be aware of, and not focusing, as I said before, only on one single relationship. The other thing that I just wanted to pick up on that Marina was talking about was the contract. And obviously the contract and the service level agreement and the key performance indicators will give us, as exactly as she said, a very, very strong foundation for, shall we say, the relationship that should be maintained throughout the contract with the vendor manager. You've got the blueprint for the relationship there, with the key performance indicators, the amount of times that you can should sit down and review that, when you should escalate it, and so on. But if you have, but the only other thing I wanted to add to that was the point I made earlier, as Marina said, the crowd check model is, you, from a buyer's perspective, you must know, and sometimes these change. You know, a leveraged item can move into a strategic item. An excellent example of this is that 2 years ago, I'm going to be a little bit provocative and say no one cared about PPE equipment. That probably isn't quite true, but you understand my point. It was probably a very consumable item. And now we probably will see PPE equipment in a very strategic space. So once it was probably two and a half years ago, it might have been a, shall we say, you know, standard non-critical item, maybe a leveraged item, and now we see it as a strategic item. So things do change, and it's important. Absolutely. It's important for the organization to understand where it positions the suppliers and the spend categories. But it's also the flip side to that, as Ronald has said, from a sales perspective, it's important that buyers understand where sellers see them, because sometimes you can get it horribly wrong. I've seen it where buyers are investing a lot into a relationship with a supplier, and the supplier sees it as something that they want to exploit. They want to exploit that opportunity. So this notion of, as Marina said, making it professional, making it formal, making it, documenting it, I very much like, rather than this informal friendship, if I can say that, yes, of building a relationship, because, you know, sometimes it can go horribly wrong and cost you a lot of money and a lot of be a big risk to your organization.
Absolutely. So I mean, just continuing your idea, Steve, if we are building friendly relationship, this is supposed not to be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem to sign a contract, or sign a good contract, or work together on the contract, just to make a good foundation for the future relationship, and making sure we maintain that a lot. What I heard from all of you three is that changes are coming. I mean, nothing is forever with except for changes, and both sides are actually should be ready for this change, and ready to cooperate, and ready to change what they produce, that they used to deliver, in order to maintain this relation. So relationships mean readiness to change together, if I can formalize that. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. The thing is also, to me, well, that's why I like in the negotiation, we should talk about win-win, because it's always something for both sides, because
yes,
the competitor is the market. So we have to beat the market, but together. And that's why it is really good to have a relationship, but to have a common solution that fits to the market. So, and in the end, we really benefit both from a good solution. And that's where we should, put the focus on it. Just having a nice discussion is okay, but at the end, we should have a result. And the result is just there when we both say, yeah, this is something we are willing also to sign under this contract something, and we do something together, because the outcome is then what is important.
That was sorry.
Yep, no, it's okay.
No, I just wanted to say that, like in restaurants, you don't care about the waiter's smile if the food is terrible. I mean, you cannot compensate. You cannot compensate rational side of relationship with emotional one. Yeah, if you got customer could be of great importance, but if customer is not credit worthy, is not paying on time, what's the reason of having such a customer? The same story on the procurement side.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, Marina.
Yes.
You don't need to ask even.
Yes, in the beginning I said about changing competences and changing in general the principles of professions and principles of work in procurement and supply chain particularly. But at the same time, I want to say that last year and this year showed us that, especially lockdown showed us that how it's important supplier relationship management, and that this part of procurement work was one of the mainest. And if you didn't have in place the right strategy of these relationships with your suppliers, the right risks map and mitigations of risks of this risk plan, and if you didn't have classification of the suppliers, etc., so if you didn't have it in place, you was the first reaction, you was shocked, frustrated, and you cannot manage situation in proper way, because last year, especially in spring, all procurement and supply chain professionals need to manage the situation by hand. And yes, of course, automatization and digital instruments helps you save time and money very often. But at the same time, if you didn't connect with your suppliers, as said Ronald, if you didn't have contact and didn't talk with your suppliers and didn't update situation, for example, about changing in management, about changing in culture of the suppliers in suppliers company, so you cannot find the way how to manage some unpredicted and risk situations. And I know many professionals who did everyday calls with very important and strategic suppliers just to be updated and just to know the situation, even it is the worst. And the question was how we can help you to solve the situation. And it is really win-win approach, as Ronald said, because we can win only if my partner can win in this situation. Not to push it and to open a new competition and new tender, but to help both each other to go from this situation like winners and be successful all together. So I am a fan of this approach, and I think that only in such a way we can stay human beings, yes, and we can be successful in our business and in delivering good results for our company, for our business. And with help of our counterparts and of course counting and saving money for both sides. So this is my thoughts and my approach in business, like procurement, first of all, and like co-owner of my own business.
Great, Marina. Thank you. Steve, maybe you will add something.
Only a little bit. I just wanted to possibly repeat, but bring it into context with the comments that have just been made. And just to say, back to this point about, it all depends and everyone is different. So back to Ronald's point about the colored circle, the colored wheel, individuals are very different. Company cultures can be very different. Company objectives can be very different. So as Marina was saying, like with any relationship, the more you can understand it, the more you can analyze it, the more you can understand it and shall we say, reflect upon it, then the better you can make that relationship. But I just want to add that also, once you've done that hard work of understanding it, you can then decide where you're going to make the investment of your time. Because from a sales and a buyer's point of view, not everybody will get the same amount of attention from me as a chief procurement officer. I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time and resource at my disposal to build the relationship. So I must make decisions mainly in the strategic collaborative area and the big spend, highly complex areas where I'm going to spend those in the A-class suppliers. So it's really this, I suppose, sending a message out to our colleagues on the call today. A relationship sounds quite soft and quite easy to do, like taking everyone for a beer or a coffee.
Yeah.
Because we've all got what we can call social skills. I think as leaders we get good social skills, but this is actually hard work. So just to remind people, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And it is quite hard work to do the analysis and to determine, what you want from it and where you're going to invest the time.
Thank you very much for pointing that, Steve, because what I was about to say, and this what bring me to, before we come to the last question, what I understood, okay, it looks like from outside of the discussion, it looks like having lunch or having beer or having coffee or whatever it is, but there is something very much in the essence of that. It's just like a background. All these coffees, beers, everything. To me, what is the most important is listening to the needs of a counterpart, whatever it is, supplier or customer. My job as a credit manager, as a corporate one, was just like coming with both, with procurement side, with sales side to our counterparts, is asking, what else can we do to do better business, to do bigger business, and what are your needs, and then understanding our own needs. What can we do, whether or not there is a match or there is we need something to do, to get this match, just to make sure we are going to the better future on both sides. And this is obviously, this is the message to credit managers who are attending us, ladies and gentlemen. You're supposed to help your procurement colleagues and your sales colleagues to see what are their finance contribution to that common relationship and their development in order to greater success. And since we mentioned success, and since we are talking about, it might look like we are talking mostly on the soft emotional side of that. But if we try to, because we promise to our audience, if we try to measure relationship with something clear, tangible, because business is not about great achievements, it's not like art, although it could be like this. But in the end of the day, whether this is money, this is profit, or this is something else, which could be, if not like most important part, but at least a good bonus in the end. But what you used to take to understand that, okay, we got good relationship with a good guy, but as there is Russian saying, good guy is not a profession. This is supposed to be something else. Obviously not only money, but there should be rational side. So what, in the end of today's discussion, what could we say about how would we define this rational business cynical side of cynical effect of relationships, which we can show to our management, to our shareholders, to whoever we are trying to, or even to ourselves, if for instance this is our own business. Yeah, we invest time, we invest money into the relationship, and then we're supposed to give ourselves as a business owner an answer. What is the rational side, rational, tangible effect of this relationship? Please. Okay. No, Steve, please.
So very quickly, the first thing is to, I would say, just separate contract management, as Marina was articulating that earlier. Just separate contract management. Here's the contract, here's the service level agreement, here's the KPIs that we've all agreed. Now we need to make, put life into that, make that happen. But that, yes, that requires relationship management. Of course it does. And, the harder we work at it, the better the KPIs will be. On-time delivery, keeping to cost, keeping to the specification, the quality of the product. But if we really are ambitious about our partnership collaborations, then we can start to stretch beyond the contract. And I think that's really what you're talking about, is stretching beyond the agreement and the contract terms to find innovation, to possibly do a joint venture, to find new ways of taking market share with both the supplier and the customer or the client. So I think it's really, and yes, to your point, certainly it must be, and your word, tangible. It must be a tangible with a dollar sign, we can say, or a currency sign next to it, that we can see the benefits of that going forward. But for me, it would be process improvements, it would be innovation, it would be joint venture, it would be beyond what's in the contract.
Thank you, Steve. I completely agree with you, but I will add something. As a host, I suppose to speak the last. I'm already speaking too much. Ronald, Marina, sorry.
Ronald, please,
Okay.
it's one of your favorite topic.
Yeah, well, for me, it's about the solution. The solution must fit. So the relationship management itself is a key, or is a tool to get to the best solution. I give you a little example to that. When I was well, a long time ago, I was in holiday, and I was in south of France on a beach, and I didn't put down my phone, so the phone was ringing, and then I was on holiday, but I said, okay, I take it. And on the other side was a banking manager, and he told me, okay, listen, I don't know you, but I know you've worked with our bank, and what you have done was good. So I would like to have this, that, and that, and that. And I said, okay. And that sounded to me already so fixed. Then I said to him, okay, listen, it sounds to me as if you have already something really very clear, a clear picture in your head, in your mind. And to be honest, it sounds to me that you're just looking for a next, just for another offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, yeah, I'm open to it. Yes. So, you know, I'm in the process of an evaluation, and I need a third one. So a third offer. We all know that. And then I said, okay, listen, at the moment, I have two questions. First question is, when do you need that offer?
Yes.
How
much time you have?
Exactly. And second thing is, at the moment, I'm on the beach at Saint-Tropez, so I'm on holiday, but I come back this weekend. And so the second question, would you have time the day before? Because he needed that offer Wednesday, and I came back Monday, so I had to work. And then Tuesday, would you have time Tuesday to talk with me about that? And if we don't find an agreement, then fine with me, you get an offer, and then at least you know you have your third offer. And he was agreeing on that. Now the problem was when I went together with him, he wanted to have a fixed training with a certain outcome. But by questioning what he really wants, we found out that this bank, they had a loss of 20% of turnover for a bank. Okay. So that was a lot. That was
enormous.
Millions. That was millions. And the thing is, the solution that he was looking for with me was just a part of it. So let's say a sales training for a certain group. And at that point, when I found out this is the problem, I already know, well, if he buys any sales training, he will not be happy. He will not be successful. It cannot solve that problem because it's a major problem.
Much more bigger problem than when he thought.
Exactly. So then at the end, we designed together a solution to that. But of course, he had to go back to the board with solution, and he was asked not for a big concept, but he was asked for this specific training. But by discussing with him, we found out that there is a major issue. And then he came into that session with with two solutions, exactly what they were asking, and with a concept that fitted to the solution of the problem, which of course at the end it took much more. It was a whole concept. It took longer, but it helped to solve the problem. And then the decision by the board was, of course, made. They wanted to have a solution, not just a part, just a little part. They wanted to have a solution to their problem. So, and that's what it is. So all the other failed because they didn't find out what was the real problem. And so that's why I say, so my solution, so relationship management, we build it up then later on, but the relationship management is a tool to find out what is the real need they have. And then your solution have to fit that need. So, because if we are in procurement management, and if we negotiate and we have a solution, at the end, the solution must be successful. If this is not successful, I failed and my counterpart failed as well. So next time, maybe I don't meet him again. This is not good. So the solution is the key.
This reminds me, this reminds me of one simple thing. That's why I'm asking, what are you trying to do with my product, or what you would like to achieve with my product? Yes, that's I just wanted, to highlight.
Absolutely.
When somebody is calling you, okay, you got customer, I need a sales training, okay, but what you would like to achieve? That's why, because that's again, this is listening. We need to understand the real need of our customer, of our supplier, of our counterpart, and how do we fit it? Because very often people are looking for, I don't know, people I mean medical example is quite easy to explain. You know, people are looking for painkiller, but pain may come in
It's a symptom.
1,000 different ways, and they need really a solution for that that specific disease, to cure it, not just a painkiller to remove a pain, you know, for now.
Correct.
Marina, I believe you got enough to you've got something to add to that.
Yeah, I agree absolutely with Steve and Ronald, and I have the same examples in my experience, and also good comparison with treatment of the disease, but not golden pill for everybody. And the same during my experience as a salesperson for my clients. I said that to understand what is the problem, what is the need, we need to make analysis like normal doctor do the first, and then we should read this analysis and all papers to understand what is your problem and how to solve this problem. And that is why we need very often to make assessment, and assessment includes this medical analysis and other medical procedures to understand what's happening with procurement or supply chain. So this is the way how we can help our clients to solve the problem and to help them to be successful. Yes, if I'm talking about clients. And of course, I'm a fan of calculation. I calculate everything, and I show to my clients the output they have in different situations. And of course, I'm calculating and teach my, for example, participants of my programs trainings how to calculate different scenarios and profit and loss as well. In this case, they be aware about different output, and they can be more detailed in their relationships and negotiations as well. So this is secret, not secret, but just instrument, and you need to train it always and always and always, and in the end you can use it with any clients, with any buyers, with any suppliers, etc. So this is very useful approach.
So that's, I mean, if Ronald will correct my bad French, says le secret de Polichinelle.
Absolument.
So yes, so, well, again, we all agree that in the end this is about money, but not just money, immediate money right now. The one who solves the issue or helps a counterpart, like, you know, like in fairy tales, the one who helps actually wins more. And since this is business, the one who really who comes with a solution to an issue, to a need, actually makes more money. That's, I mean, quite simple rule. And even very often, I had my personal experience, sometimes it is even better to say no to customer, better to say no to supplier, just because the solution you have or the solution you look for is just, it simply doesn't fit. You don't need to be that nice guy, you know, I mean, you should not be stupid to be a nice guy in the wrong situation. Yeah, you just, if it fits, you say as it is. If it doesn't fit, you simply say, sorry, this doesn't fit. We better look for other solution and see each other next time. That's in terms of, again, this is about long-term relationship. They could not be based on, you know, on fake, on liar, on whatever it is. You suppose.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it's
is,
supposed to be fair and supposed to be correct. We got a quite interesting question from our audience.
mhm.
Um,
About intercultural business.
Absolutely. And we all got international career, I believe we can say. I mean, that's why I, by the way, just to make a short introduction to that, we already have on Credit Chats a tradition, like somebody is coming with the questions, which very often a kind of problem, and we find solution altogether. I believe we got a chance to do that today. That's what make it pleasure for me to to run these Credit Chats, because I see we find solutions. I have your experience and advice when it comes to intercultural business activities with someone from a completely different background. How do you deal with them? So let's say we got, I don't know, I mean, what are your recipes to deal with complete different background? Imagine we are in Africa and supposed to deal with somebody from Japan. Like to highlight it.
Yeah. The better you understand the problem they have and the solution or the direction of the solution they want to go, the better you can help. Because that's exactly what we are all working in. Because I was a banker. I was not a specialist in pharmaceutical. But at the end, if you understand what kind of difficulty problems they have and what they want to, where they want to go, you find a solution together with them. And that's how it is. It's the same thing here now. We are here now. I'm now located here in Tampa Bay. And we are negotiating now for people from Asia to bring goods here or to buy companies here in Tampa Bay to have the production field here. And so this is always the same thing. They don't understand how the market is working here, and they try to understand first how it is working, and then they look what they want to do, and if we find a solution that fits together. So it's all about finding out what do they want, what are their difficulties, their problems, and how much would it cost to solve a solution that fits. And we talked before, you said sometimes it's better to say no. If you don't do that, then you are the one who is responsible if it fails. So that's why, even if you don't understand, you can imagine how it works when you have the right information. And to do that, you have to find out with the right question, the understanding. So you don't have to know all about the market, because very often you have specialists in these fields. So that's how we are working as well. So we are looking then also for information for specialists to get a full picture, and then we design the solution to that picture together with the customer.
Great, thank you very much, Ronald.
May I add?
Marina?
Yes, may I add? I agree that professionalism and subject matter approach is very important, and it's important to help to solve the problem to our clients, etc. But I study a lot about different cultures and about how they make decisions, how they work in the team or separately, etc. So fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, there is different behavior in different cultures and different ways of making business, different ways of making relationships, etc. We all know that how in Arabic countries on the East, how they build these relationships with doesn't matter customer or buyers, very, very long time, and only after the close very close, building very close relationships, they start to talk about business and they start to trust you. Yes, and it is part of the culture, and depends on the dimensions behavior in different cultures. we need to understand how to behave with them, and when and what we can expect from different cultures, yes, and how they react on different things, different words, colors, etc., etc. For example, like it's not allowed to wear yellow clothes if you have some deal or meeting with Japanese companies, because it is the color of the empire, and many other things, and how to give them the business card and how to take this business card. It is small elements, but same truth, it is very, very important. They don't want to discuss with you any issues, problems, if you don't show respect to their culture. So from my point of view, if you want to make the teamwork, for example, to organize it more smooth and more with less not understanding and conflicts, you need to understand different cultures and different approaches. And we did with my colleagues, we did some trainings and some workshops to explain, for example, for a Ukrainian team who plan to transfer to another country, how to behave in, for example, in Chinese culture, how to behave in Germany culture, etc. So it is really different. And I prefer to know more about the cultures of my team member, or for example, cultures of my client or suppliers. It doesn't matter. This is my recipe.
Thank you, Marina. Steve,
Yeah.
I believe you've got a lot to add to that topic.
I have a lot I could add, but I just want to agree with what we've heard. The only thing I was going to add was a lot of my experience that was very sensitive was the Middle East. Although I've worked in other parts of the world, the Middle East, when to shake hands, when not to shake hands. And as Marina said, it's all about being respectful wherever you are in the world, whoever you're talking to, and not being judgmental. The thing they say, the thing that people say to me as in the latter part of my career, it's different here. It's different. And it's not going in, however much you know, however much you learn, however much you think you are the best at what you do, not having one, as we said before, not having one approach that fits everybody, at least allowing to be sensitive to think that it might actually be different in Azerbaijan or Kazakhstan or in Saudi, and just to be respectful of people's culture, when to allow in the Middle East for prayer time. So, you know, these are very sensitive matters that people clearly are very, you know, passionate about. So we just must be very respectful, not just country to country, as I've just described, but also, as Marina said, it can differ between the research and development team, the accountancy team, and this comes back to Ronald's red, blue, green, and yellow. Everybody is different. Everybody has a different personality. And I think it's bearing this in mind when we meet them. And my company and a lot of us, I guess, do work, and not just having, we could have one standard approach, a training course. We could say that when I got to Kazakhstan with the oil company there, I just delivered the same training course that I delivered for a Canadian company a week before. But the more I knew about the country, the more I knew about the company, the more, as Marina said, that they would trust me, that they would work with me, and indeed give me more business, ask me about if they trust me and they respect me, that would lead to more additional business as well, training courses. So it's not approaching it with just the same approach. You should find out about a company, an individual that you're going to see, because I'm sure that the more you can learn, as Marina said, the more you will win trust and the more influence you will have.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steve. I just wanted to say, Marina mentioned today Middle East builds. I mean, in Middle East is known for building relationship for quite long time. Ronald is smiling. I don't believe they can beat Switzerland, especially German parts, you know, where now, there is a joke in Switzerland, like, okay, you spent 30 years, you spent about 10 years in Switzerland, now you can try to make some friends. So that's that's one of the good approach, but that in very general,
You know, that's why I'm now here.
okay. So
I
for the whole your life, you know, you didn't manage. I mean, coming back to serious, you don't need to. I mean, I used to work with many other cultures. Thanks God we had Soviet Union, so I've been to many other cultures as well. So I started that cosmopolitan career quite early in my life, and I understood that again. Completely agreed with Steve. You should not judge of how people are living. Everybody's different, and you don't need to be. I don't know. You need to be. You shouldn't be a Japanese or completely Japanese to deal with Japanese people or any other culture. You just need to respect. You just need to ask what do they value, and if that is not going against your culture, or if you don't breach your own rules, you just do that. It is quite easy. And again, you don't need to do that from the very first step. You know, I didn't speak French in Geneva, but it's very easy to say bonjour, and then just as a respect of culture. And then people continue to speak English with you in much more different way than you just come and say, okay, you are in international city called Geneva, you have to speak English. They don't have, and you don't have. But if you want to make a relationship, which means in the end means business, you're supposed to respect, and you're supposed to be open-minded, and you should not become like these people you are dealing with. But you also don't need to expect them to just follow your rules because you are that great person came and visit them. That's in very simple term. And again, it's on the other side, it is quite interesting to learn other cultures and try to show respect. And this really works. Marina, Steve, Ronald, I mean, I lost for words to express the pleasure I had today for our discussion. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for your great contribution. And I hope this is not for the last time we got such a discussion as we had today. I wish everybody, whatever part of the day it is, yes, love, love, love. Love is all you need. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
And thank you very much to many thanks to everyone who found time to join us. Best of luck to you in business, best of luck to you in relationships, and please stay tuned with our credit chats. See you next time.
Thank you very much.
See you. Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.